Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Collectors with Cards Drinking Coffee. Today, we have a very special guest, a good friend of mine that actually goes back to kind of the early days of when I got back into Pokemon. He's somebody that I watched early on YouTube. He's one of the OGs. He was there with I kind of tie him in with Gem at Pokemon. We'll talk about the video, but we go back to Worlds 2017, and he's just kind of one of the OGs that I remember watching, doing PSA orders and PSA grade returns and all that stuff. So I'd like to welcome my good friend, Pokemon Master 556, Jeff. How you doing, man?
Doing all right. Just hanging out.
Good. So I believe you went by another name too at one point, didn't you? I forget what it was.
It was just a dirty joke of a name, just Pokemon Fetish.
Pokemon Fetish. That's right. Okay, that's
Just a disturbing, messed up name. I thought that was too funny not to pass up.
Well, I know. I'm sure there's still a lot of people out there that remember you by Pokemon Fetish. But like I said, we met for the first time at Anaheim, 2017 Worlds in Anaheim, if you remember this.
Vaguely.
Poor
memory.
I bought a pre-release Clefable from you, a off-center first edition Misty's Gyarados. And I think that might have been it. I don't know. I was looking through your binder to buy a lot of stuff, and I only ended up buying those two cards.
There was a lot of stuff in that binder.
Oh, it was beautiful. I remember you saying it was. I think we were like cracking out 9s just to try to get 10s back then. Like that was the thing to be doing. And so your binder was full of, I think, cracked out 9s. And you were just trying to sell them off, and you were very honest, obviously, with those cards. But yeah, they were beautiful. I mean, you had multiple copies of Suicune, Entei, Raikou, I remember, from Neo Rev.
Yeah, I had 9 complete sets.
Jeez, wow.
First edition Neo Revelation, and I wish I still had them. It was amazing to look at, full pages in every holo.
Yeah, no, that was really cool to flip through your binder specifically. A lot of people brought stuff, and it wasn't that great to look at, but your binder I remember very, very well. But let's talk a little bit about you. You're actually in process of selling your entire, or not your entire collection, but most of your collection, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about your story and how you got here and how you got to this place. Because, to me, you're a household name within Pokemon, and you've had an incredible collection throughout the time, whether you have stuff now today or not. I want to learn on how you got to that point. So, how was Pokemon first introduced into your life back in like 1999?
It came out. I had never even heard of it, and all of a sudden everyone was crazing over something. Here I am. I think I was in 2nd or 3rd grade. It's like, what's all this? What's going on with this? And I started watching the show a little bit, and all of a sudden the cards came out. I remember the first time I actually even got some cards. My mom took me down to a little card shop inside of the mall, and we bought 7 packs for me, and I got nothing. I didn't even get a single holo. I'm like, thinking back on it, were those packs weighed?
Very well could have been.
I mean, I doubt it back in the day. I don't know if they ever thought the cards would have weighed more, but who knows?
Was that base set?
Yeah, that's when I started out the very, very beginning. So we had a Wizards of the Coast store because actually, the cards were made here in Washington in the area. I think Redmond, I believe, nearby, which is like 30 minutes away from me. And so we had an actual Wizards of the Coast store that we'd go to. My mom would drive me to.
Okay.
And me and my cousin, and we'd go down there and we'd get packs of like Jungle and Fossil and some base set stuff. And I don't think that I ever made it really past that point. Okay. I had collected like Japanese. I never made it really into the Neo series. The Japanese Neo series just came out, and that's basically when everything just died off.
Okay.
And then I just kind of dropped the trend along with everybody else.
Yeah.
Just because, you're a kid and you're like, well, I guess this is stupid now, but like I guess I probably just secretly never stopped liking it because here we are today,
Right.
you know 20 plus years later.
And we've got
So
an obsession with it. Um,
pretty much.
so that's cool. I mean, you grew up. I actually went to their headquarters a year and a half ago when I was out there for a work trip. I stopped in Wizard of the Coast, and they actually gave me like a little gift bag for stopping in, and I got like a free Magic the Gathering pack, like a deck box, and some other stuff. So if you're ever in Redmond, Washington, go to the Wizards of the Coast headquarters, act like a fanboy, and they'll give you free stuff. Um, but
They actually have a Pokemon. I don't know exactly what they do there, but there's a place called Bellevue nearby me
mhm,
as well.
mhm.
And I've seen it off the side of the freeway a couple times, but I've seen like a big Pokemon building. And I've always just like wanted to go in there,
Interesting. You might
see
have to stop
what's
by.
in there.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue. All I know is I've ever seen the Pokemon building, like the
Yeah.
sign up there and everything, and I'm like,
Huh.
what's in there? Uncut sheets?
Yeah. Just
Give me.
a bunch of sealed boxes, just everything you can imagine. So,
Yeah, that'd
be,
be nice.
since you shopped, you were in the area of Wizard of the Coast, basically, like not just the area, but like the almost the city. Were those base set packs do you remember if they were first edition back then?
I never got any first edition or even shadowless anything from
Really?
base set. No, I don't even know if I ever even really saw any. I mean, I'm pretty sure I did, like, in the counter, but I don't
Mhm.
remember because, I was eight,
Right.
9, somewhere in that general age, you
Okay.
know, too long ago to fully remember, but I do remember some of the good parts.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I did I did get first edition of Jungle and Fossil,
Okay. Yeah.
and then I collected like some of the Japanese gym sets.
Hmm.
Like I got some of that and like some Team Rocket cards and stuff like that. And that's somewhere along the lines. That's kind of where it all just kind of fell off for me
Yeah.
and a
Yeah.
lot of other people. I remember kids actually telling me, I was like, this one guy, there not one, he's not a guy, obviously. I was like a third grade, but I remember asking him, I was like, did you still got that Blastoise hollow? And he goes, nah, my mom made me throw all my cards away.
Oh my
He
God.
threw away all of his cards.
That's
And they're just all
insane.
in sleeves and in the binder, like not even played with or anything. And I'm like, dang, thinking back on that of talking to the kid in the school bus, that lives down the
Gosh.
street from me, it's just
Hmm.
like, God, you
That's
think about how many parents actually threw away their kids' cards, and it just makes me sick to my stomach.
that's like the next level though. Like your parents make you throw out the cards like consciously. That's instead of going back and be like, oh well, we couldn't have done anything about it. But wow.
Yeah, you're just wasting money at that point. You
Yeah.
invested all this money in something that turned into nothing. Well, you may
Hmm.
as well hold on to it. And it's
Yeah.
just that's bad parenting right there.
I think yeah, they definitely have a lot of stories of that. Thankfully, me and my brother still had all of our childhood cards that
I don't.
I've kept in a binder. I think I sold the Charizard, but I replaced it, so it's okay.
I think I sold all of mine in a garage sale because I could
Yeah.
never find them.
Oh,
I know
okay.
that I had some cards, big old cards in a shoebox, and I think I had like a complete base set
Hmm.
and like just like a big old random assortment of like incomplete fossil and jungle more or less. But
Okay.
I don't think that really ever made it too
Hmm.
far as that.
Yeah, because I
But
stopped.
I do remember. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, and I stopped around the gym series, and I remember having like one or two packs of Japanese Neo, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I remember being a really bad kid at some point. I don't know. I think I was around the age of like 14, 15, and there was a Toys R Us down the street
Hmm.
from my dad's apartments that he lived in, and me and my buddy would go in there, and they had these they had gym theme decks.
Uh-huh.
I just went in there and stole them all.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like a long time ago. Like I remember, I think I took like a Blaine theme deck. Like they had like all these
Hmm.
good theme decks in there. I
Dang.
just like took all the decks out of there.
Those
You
are
know,
those are probably the best theme decks in my opinion. I love the look of those. Those
yeah,
are really
they're
cool.
they're, they're great.
And thankfully Toys R Us can't come back to get you for that one. So
Yeah, right.
all
20 plus years ago.
yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. So you stopped pretty early. I mean, most people I talk with, I mean, we're around the same age, right? You're Like
32.
you're 32. Okay, so yeah, I mean, still, I'm 28, gonna be 28, um, here soon. But yeah, like most people kind of tend to stop around the gym set. So you stopped pretty early. Did you get into Magic or any other card games?
No, I never touched. Like, I don't think I ever. I think just Pokemon, honestly.
Hmm.
I mean, I recently bought some Magic stuff, like
Yeah.
within the last couple of years, but
Hmm.
I didn't really go crazy with it or anything. I just bought some Beta Nines and 9.5s and stuff like that, and
Not going crazy.
I got a mint revised set.
Okay.
You know, that's about it.
I saw a sealed. I think you had a revised deck, or was it unlimited deck on your
It
Instagram?
was. I wish it was an unlimited deck. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
No, it was just a revised deck.
Okay.
It had trash in it, but
Okay.
it's to be expected.
Yeah.
People mapped those when they were
Hmm.
buying cases, so they'd open them till they got
Yeah.
their dual land, and then they just sell off the rest of the decks to some poor sap that ain't gonna
Hmm.
get anything good. So
Yeah. That's too bad. A lot of there's a lot of knowledge out there in Magic and the early stuff, so
yeah.
it's tough to gain an edge when you're buying stuff. Um, so what brought you back into Pokemon then? Because I know you got into it pretty early, right? I mean,
Yeah.
what year do you remember when you got back into it, and what was like kind of the factor that brought you back?
So I've been living in my house for 6 years. Just doing the math here, but
Hmm.
probably about, I want to say 8 or 9 years ago, probably eight, to
Okay.
be honest, because I know I was living with my dad at the time,
Hmm.
you know, just kind of going through my life, lived with my dad and moved into an apartment for like a half a year, and then I've been in my house ever since.
Okay.
So, but originally, what had gotten me back into it is my best friend. We went to my little sister's birthday party. This was like a long time ago. It's at like a skate deck.
Hmm.
And my buddy popped open his trunk and he had a shoebox in the back of his car, and he had Pokemon cards in the shoebox. And he had like a hollow Articuno from Fossil, and like a bunch of like other cards like all old and beat up. He's like, because my sister liked Pokemon,
Uh-huh.
and so he was like, "Yo, he's like, you think we should give your sister these Pokemon cards for her birthday?" I'm like, "Yeah, she probably liked those." And I just started kind of looking at them, you know. And so we gave those to her, and then I was talking to him about it later. I was like, "Yo," it was like, "You want to start checking out, start collecting a little bit with me?" And we had originally what we started out like right around the time when Black and White series had came out.
Hmm.
I think I want to say I think within the first 6 months, I think Plasma Freeze had came out as a set. Um, so within like 6 months to a year, that's when I had originally restarted back into it. But we bought a Black and White base box
Mm.
and opened that up together and split the packs and opened them up. And he kind of did a little bit of his own thing. We bought a case of Plasma Freeze together and stuff like that. And I think I kind of just one day it just took off for me, and I'm like looking at all this old crap on eBay, and I'm just like, I remember I think this was the very first box that I had opened was a first edition Neo Discovery box
Oh wow.
from Wizards of the Coast. I mean, that was my first Wizards box that I had ever
Hmm.
opened, because I kept always thinking to myself, I'm like, I always remember as a kid I wanted to open up a booster box,
Hmm.
and my mom never freaking bought one for me. And so finally it came down to it, I'm like, well, started looking at prices, and I bought a Neo Discovery box on eBay. It was $500
Oh wow.
when I had started out, and I mean, I pulled this,
Ooh.
and this is the actual one that I had pulled, and it graded the 10.
Wow.
So there's little special little things out of there that are like that. Like that was one of the very first cards like I had ever graded.
Hmm.
And it's been with me ever since. I mean, you could even see the cert number on there, 2277 for
Oh
the
wow.
starting four numbers. So that was a long time ago,
Yeah.
you know. And so that card kind of, it's one of my favorites, and it
Hmm.
just kind of. I never opened up Neo back then, but I remember I still kind of got into it by playing the game a little bit, and I kind of just took off from there. And I was just like checking out all the Pokemon from the Series 2,
Yeah.
and it was just like I want to open up those boxes. So like I went crazy with it, and I got that. I opened up all 4 Neo sets, but I couldn't afford a Neo Destiny box at the time because I
Okay.
was, making, I don't know, $14 an hour or something at the time. So
Mm-hmm.
$500 was kind of a big deal.
Oh yeah. No, it
you
was.
know.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. Like we look back at when, like even as kids, like we didn't have $100 to spend on a booster box to buy and open, but at some point in our life, we got like a few $1,000s that we could spend on a box and open. So it's weird how the money has changed like that. And even back, yeah, like you said, back then, $500 for a box back then, like seems crazy today, but that's what the going rate was. And it was still super expensive to do that because it was just where we
Yeah.
were at in life. And then as you
Unless you
grow,
were a Gary.
unless you were a Gary, of course, or somebody that was like, had some crazy job or well established and all that. Yeah, that Umbreon is beautiful. I really hope to see a black label of that one day. I think it just the aesthetics of the card and the black label would just look super cool. I know that's like a little weird, but I think that
Nah,
would.
that's not weird at all. It makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah,
I would love to see that too. I'd probably be the guy that tries to buy that, actually. You
yeah,
know, I don't want to know what that would cost, but I'd probably try to.
yeah, yeah. So that's one thing that I like to see soon. If it hopefully it would be mine, but I've been trying to find mint Umbreons. You can't find mint WotC cards in general anymore. So
Uh-uh.
it's
I gave up, honestly, like a few years ago.
yeah.
Every single set that I kept buying sets because that's actually how I got started when I started grading cards. Like I was opening boxes and
Hmm.
grading stuff, but I was also finding mint cards and all
Okay.
that stuff. I usually just bought complete sets. That's where I actually found all the good stuff because the people would be like, "Oh, mint pack pulled, booster to sleeve, been
Yeah.
sitting inside my closet or in my storage unit for." 15 years or whatever, and I'm like, okay, get some pictures of them. And I'm like, those look damn good.
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah, that was
buy, grade, sell,
yeah, that was one thing
collect.
that I didn't do enough of is buy collections because it made sense. Like the collection, like if you had a full binder set, somebody was consciously completing that set, and they would most likely keep it in better condition, right? Than versus buying single card lots or whatever here and there of collections that kids like played with, basically. So that makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense. I really wish I had done that. I've never really had too many complete sets. I did my base set first, Shadowless and Unlimited, and I was like happy with that from a complete
Yeah.
standpoint. So I just started chasing like just the big cards and sealed product and all that.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you got in really early, like 2013 or so. At what point did you kind of get introduced to like the Pokemon community?
Honestly, I kind of tried to just jump straight into it, but the problem was like I had a really crappy camera to film with,
Mm,
and it just was not working out for me. So I had to kind of change that up, but I just kept still trying.
yeah.
I pretty much just went straight to YouTube, to be honest.
Okay.
I watched, well, Charizard Authority or TCA, whatever you want to call him now.
Yeah.
You know, um, I watched a lot of like his videos and stuff like that. There was a other person that I watched too. I can't remember what his name was, and some other girl name, I think Super Duper Danny, I believe,
Oh
or
yeah.
something. Some
She's
younger
big.
girl.
Yeah, she's big now.
Yeah, I
There was
remember
like
I used to watch those.
Cat's Meowth and like SMG Quest or
Yeah, yeah, I
uh,
saw all those people's videos and
yeah.
stuff too, and I was just kind of like, oh well, I'm opening booster boxes and maybe I should record some of this. But unfortunately for me, I didn't do that till like after the first couple months where I'd already bought and cracked open most of the boxes that I
Yeah.
had bought, out of so much pure excitement. You get that thing in the mail and it's instantly it's being ripped open.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish like I was able to do that a lot with loose packs. I was never able to find like good enough deals to get sealed boxes because I got in later. I got in 2015, 16. So boxes
Yeah,
were pretty expensive and it wasn't to me it wasn't logical to open the boxes, but I was able to find loose packs still for fairly cheap and unweighed. So like when I got loose packs and I was ripping through those and that was just so much fun. So much fun, dude.
yeah, it really, really is. I
Yeah.
bought most of my sealed boxes off of the exact same person though.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, she listed stuff, and I messaged her, and I was like, "Thanks for accepting my offer and
Hmm.
all this and that." She's like, "Sure, sure." She's like, "I'm still pulling the stuff out of the storage unit." So, and then one month she messaged me. She's like, "Hey, yeah, I got some of this, this, and this, and I think I bought a Skyridge box off of her for I want to say 500, maybe 550, but it wasn't even $700. It was definitely
Yeah.
below $700, and I remember getting that puppy in the mail because like I'd never seen any of those cards. So like it
Hmm.
was just like opening that box was just like I gotta say it was pretty legendary opening that box. I
Yeah.
mean,
Do you remember what you
I didn't
pulled?
really know how rare or anything it was, at the time, but I just know that I had never seen one and I was like, ooh, that looks cool.
Hmm.
I want that. And I was sitting down on the floor cracking them open in my bedroom, at my dad's house. And when I was opening them up, I specifically remember this pack that I had opened because, I got through it down to the hollow part, and there was a Crobat hollow, but it
Hmm.
wasn't a Crobat hollow, it was the crystal.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, sweet, this is awesome. And then right behind it, there it was, the reverse crystal Charizard.
Wow. That's a god pack.
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't think that that's ever I want someone to list a video of that. If anyone ever happens, they
Hmm.
gotta post that to YouTube.
Yeah. Well,
Like I
we've
was so
seen.
upset that I couldn't have had that on my own YouTube.
Yeah,
You know?
we've seen PokeRev open up Neo Destiny boxes that have shinings and hollows in the same pack. So like that's
Yeah,
kind
the
of
PokeRev too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've opened 4 Skyridge packs in my life, and I pulled a Gengar Hollow, it graded a 10, and a Crystal Reverse Crobat, and that graded a 10.
It's a really easy 10 set
Yeah, yeah,
for the most part.
yeah. Like I was always concerned because the packs are super tight on the cards. Have you ever noticed that? And I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
that's got to damage the corners and edges. But for whatever reason, it kept them more pristine because they weren't shifting around, I guess, as much
maybe.
as the looser packs.
Yeah.
So I was always curious about that because I used to open the packs like because I like to save the art as much as possible, the pack art.
I was doing
So
that
so
too.
I would pull it out like just the crimps at the top and pull it out. But you couldn't do it with that set because the packs were so tight. So you had to like open the whole thing. But yeah, it was a super easy 10 set from at least my 4 pack experience. So, what was like the first like goal then for you? It seemed like you were buying complete sets, like you said, and ripping open boxes for the fun of it. Was there a collection goal, or were you just kind of all over the place?
My collection goal, my original one, was never met.
Oh, really? What was that?
Hey, yeah. My first collection goal was to get a binder set of every single set
Okay.
and mint condition. But the problem is I kept grading everything that I got.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd grade it, I'd sell it, I'd keep whatever I really liked,
Hmm.
whatever I didn't, I had a duplicate of it would basically anything that I got that I didn't have a huge interest in, which even a lot of the time when I even did, this was around the time when Gem Mint Pokemon came into the picture. I
Okay.
had gotten my first 50 card submission back and I made a video of it and he messaged me. He's like, hey, I want to say the first card I think he bought off me was a first edition Neo Genesis Meganium PSA 10.
Hmm.
Obviously like the cheaper one, not the lower pop one.
Okay.
But I think that was one of the first cards that he had bought off me. I don't know how the hell I remember this, but but just kind of looking back at it, and he was like, you can make some good money off of doing this, off of
Mhm.
selling stuff, and I'm like, you know, like maybe I don't need all of this. So I just kind of
Okay.
I sold him a couple things a couple days later or whatever, and
Yeah.
I just kind of kept the ones that I really liked.
Yeah. Well, that's a similarity that we have because I never finished my original goal. My original
Yeah.
goal was to have one of every sealed box and of a WotC
Yes.
era. And well, I mean, when I got in, like and for whatever reason, I was able to find a lot of hordes of stuff, and I got super close at one point. Like all I needed was first ed, shadowless, base, and then the E series. I had everything else, but I just got to a point where I ended up selling it all because the money got too big, and like I just got caught up in wanting to buy and sell, buy and sell, buy and sell, and that's what I'm doing now for a living is buying and selling. So like I can't really collect. Like I don't have a collection anymore. It's very, very small. It's Dragon Ball Z. My collection is Dragon Ball Z now, because it's affordable.
Nothing wrong with Dragon Ball Z. I love Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been interesting to see like where things have shifted for me and like my goals that I have each year, month, week. It just constantly changes. But yeah, so you Gen Mint Pokemon again. I mentioned like that's kind of where I tie you into that. That's kind of where I found you because Gen Mint Pokemon Zach was like the first person that I discovered on YouTube, and then quickly noticed that you and him, like he mentioned your name a lot, so I started watching your videos, and then one of my favorite videos was the story of that first edition base set box that you helped middleman or however that worked. So you started selling to Zach. When was that? Like 2015, 14?
Like I said, like right at the beginning of things, like within the first 6 months. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, back then, 2014 or something, 13.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it seemed like you guys had similar goals of chasing PSA 10 sets.
I really liked the idea of PSA 10 sets, though I never really got too many of them because every single set I always wound up selling off something to him. I always ended up helping him. I was like, I really like this card. And I'd be like, but I'll sell it to you. Like I sold him so much stuff like all the time. Like I remember back in the day, I had 2 Neo Genesis sets, first edition sets. Okay. Back then when cards like Pinsir were pop 1.
Yeah.
Mistrovis was pop 1 or 2 and stuff like that. Like all these, not Mistrovis from Revelation, obviously, but like all these really low pop Neo Genesis cards that were pop 1. And I remember grading some of these, and I got 2 10s of like each of these cards and bumped the pops up to 3 on a lot of that stuff. And it was just like a big deal, So I sold him one, I kept one myself, and then unfortunately later sold some more off because I had made some, honestly, I've made some very regrettable decisions. I still make them even today. Selling my collection off is going to be a regrettable decision down the road, and I know it. Yeah. But I'm doing it anyway. Essentially, I just sold a lot of things off to that guy, though, off to Zach, and look at his collection now. Like I can't even say maybe like. If we're just talking about Wizards of the Coast Hollows, like I've probably sold him like 10% of his collection.
Oh, wow.
Out of like all those cards, you would think, like, because I'm just every single time I got something back, hey, you need this? Yeah, I got it.
Well, that's how the world. I mean, that's how it works. Like, I mean, I don't know what your financial position was at that time, but I was doing the same thing to Zach. I was buying and selling to him. Like I sold stuff to him before I even owned it. I sold him an unlimited Neo Genesis box that I bought for $700. I sold to him for $900. I didn't have the money to spend $700 and sit on something or open it. That's just
how I felt.
Yeah, like it's. I mean, sure. Like if I budgeted better and didn't spend money on going out and living my life and having fun, sure, I could have done it. But what kind of fun would that have been? Like my life would have just been Pokemon and that's it. And I've realized that kind of recently where like I've made a ton of regrettable decisions like you have the same. Sold so many nice things like Japanese base set box. I sold 2 of those for $2,000 back in the day. Like so much so much stuff. Like I'd be probably yourself too. We would be millionaires right now. Like
for sure.
And it's just. But it would be in cardboard. It wouldn't be in actual money. So, but also like you wouldn't have what you have. I wouldn't have what I have without buying and selling, and building. So
that's for sure.
As regrettable as it is and painful as it is to look back, you always got to end off that conversation with, well, it got me to where I am today, and I couldn't have done it without buying and selling all that stuff. So. It's a part of life. Like it's not just Pokemon. It happens everywhere. The decisions we make are regrettable. That girlfriend back in high school, or whatever decisions you make, it's there's always something that you look back and think, oh, I could have done this better, that better. So
Yeah,
you can't.
my big one. I've got a really big one though on my plate though. That kind of bugs me when I look back at it because
Yeah.
originally when I had first bought my house, I was paying on a car and I couldn't really afford to have the car payment
Hmm.
with the house payment because I was making garbage money.
Hmm.
And I just, I was like, I got all this investment, and I remember one of the cards, that I had sold off, just a couple of them. I sold off a PSA 10 Gold Star Rayquaza that I had graded myself for like $1,100 or something back in the day.
Yeah.
And it was like $45,000 at this point.
Hmm.
And the other really big one here is the first edition Lugia from Neo Genesis. I
Yeah.
think I had traded it away for like $500 worth in value.
Wow.
And I've had two of these as well.
Hmm.
Like both of them were less than $500 at the time.
Wow.
So yeah,
Well,
really,
I
you
mean,
know.
yeah, we've all done it. S and Pratt
But
was
yeah,
selling.
moving on from that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. S and Pratt was selling PSA 9 first ed Charizards for $800. I sold my
Yeah,
9.5 Charizard that I opened earlier this year for 12,000. It's 150 now or whatever. Like
yeah,
yeah,
it's crazy.
it drives me insane. It drives us
No one
insane.
could have expected it.
Yeah, that's the thing. No one could have expected it. So you just got to do your best to to move on from it.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that story though of that first edition base set box. Zach does a good well of explaining the logistics of it on his YouTube. But maybe you can give a little bit more insight on how that all came to be.
As far as I'm, concerned within that story of things, I was just kind of a ride along.
Hmm.
Like, there's an area called Tacoma that I don't live to like hour and a half away from my house, and that's where the guy that was found throughout this whole middleman service through to Zach,
Hmm.
that's where that guy was located, and he had to fly out here to pay the guy,
Hmm.
and so Zach was like, hey, history in the making over here, like, you wanna help me open this, and
Hmm.
so, he flew down for the weekend. I picked him up from the airport, stayed the weekend over here. We went down there, opened the box, and, it was just a good time,
I mean,
getting to hang out with Zach for the
yeah.
weekend and open up some legendary booster packs out of a box.
I mean,
Pretty cool.
that's incredible. I mean, that was actually, other than getting all the boxes, my original goal as well was to get a first edition base set box and open it with my brothers and like have that
Yeah,
experience.
I always
So so I mean, the fact that Zach asked you to be a part of that and help out with that is incredible, and he let you actually physically open packs too, which is awesome. So, um,
yeah,
like that experience is got to be special. Like to me, my greatest part of Pokemon right now, or like ever, is that experience I had of opening a Charizard, first edition base Charizard with Swolpoke. Like that
yeah. That's
video,
freaking legendary.
yeah, like that will always probably always be like the number one thing that Pokemon brought to me. I'm not, not the money, not the collection, not the whatever, not the Trophy Kangaskhan, all this stuff. That memory, that experience is like just priceless, top tier. So I can imagine, is that kind of how you think about that as well, or
Oh yeah, I mean
yeah,
it's freaking awesome.
yeah,
I can't honestly though. I don't remember what cards I pulled out of there. I feel like I
mhm.
opened up the Blastoise out of there,
I think you
if I
did.
remember correctly.
Yeah, I think you did.
That was pretty cool.
Hmm.
Getting to
Yes.
see those cards.
Now, when you were when you went there with Zach to get that box, was there any concern of it being resealed or anything? Because I know that's how he went into it. Was, if we're gonna buy this box, I need to open it and test out packs. But
Yeah, I mean he opened it right then and there.
mm-hmm,
Like I think before he even paid the guy, actually.
mm-hmm,
Just to like check him. He's like, hey, I'm gonna be opening this anyways, so I'm gonna crack open a few of these, make sure it looks legit, and everything was good. The guy got paid.
mm-hmm.
He went off on his way. That guy got shafted after all the middleman services paid
Oh,
and all that
really?
other stuff. Like I think the guy made like 6 or 7K or something like that off the
Wow.
box.
Because it
I don't
was,
remember, but yeah.
I think Zach paid 10.
Yeah. So like I said, there's a lot of middleman service fees that went on in that,
Hmm.
with all that. So it's just like he could have probably listed it to eBay and made more, but
Yeah.
hey,
Hey.
do your research first, man.
Well, it's there's a huge benefit in doing a cash deal, and some people don't have access to selling a certain amount on eBay and doing all that. So it's as easy as it seems to us to sell stuff on eBay, for someone that doesn't do it, it's a huge like hurdle to figure out, huge obstacle to
Oh,
get around.
definitely. A guy with zero feedback selling a first edition base box, get out of here.
Yeah, good luck. So yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I'm sure that guy taking 6 grand cash did just fine at the time. Although he should have held on to it.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So let's fast forward now to 2017 Worlds in Anaheim. Was this the first Pokemon event you had ever been to?
No, I can't. I went to the San Francisco one as well.
Okay.
And I think if I recall, granted, I'm not getting things backwards, and I'm pretty sure I'm not, but I think that was the one for 2016,
Mm-hmm.
if I remember correctly. But I'd gone to that one too,
Okay.
and then this second one here. I think that one was at like the Marriott Hotel. I can't remember these things. We had like I don't even remember like either like which like I probably get the two mixed up with each other, but I know that we had a presidential suite hotel
Oh, really?
on the top floor. I think that was the first one that we did though in San Francisco.
Okay.
Um, oh
Yeah.
yeah, it was because the
Hmm.
2017 one I was sleeping on the floor of like a Motel 6. Went from presidential suite on the top floor down to Motel 6 status.
Yeah. No, yeah, that was my first event. I was actually staying with a friend that was nearby, so I wasn't a part of the whole. I was only there for 5 hours or so that one day. It was like the Saturday where I hung out with you and Zach and Scott and Charlie and Chumlee was there, from Pawn Stars.
I remember
Um,
that.
uh, and yeah, there was just it was. I've said this before, but it had this really nice feel. I don't know what San Francisco was like, but it had this really small community, tight knit feel where we got to hang out and talk Pokemon and trade and sell and buy and all this stuff. And then I remember quickly after that, Pokemon exploded, and those events haven't had the same feel to it anymore. I think they're greater. Like it's just different now, where because there's so many people involved, so many people are doing it. There's a lot more going on, but that was kind of like the last one that was like a small community. It was kind of underground. There was like 15 of us basically. Right now it's like
It's just a
50.
E4 people basically.
Yeah, yeah. So that was really cool to be a part of that. That's something that really like hooked me into Pokemon. I was like, all right, this is it. I got to meet, make some friends, meet some people, and understand like, all right, these people are heavily invested. I might as well do it too. And I remember, I think that was the time where you had just purchased a PSA 10 first edition Charizard for twenty
Mm,
thousand dollars.
16,200 to be
$16,200.
exact.
I remember hearing that you put it on like PayPal credit or something. I was like, this guy is crazy. Who puts Pokemon on a credit? I was like, that's ridiculous. But
Zach did all the time.
but I think well, you had like the 6 month free interest, right? So like
Yeah.
you could just slowly
So I
pay it off.
sold so I sold off a bunch of stuff while I was doing it.
Hmm.
In the meantime, like I sold off my PSA 9 first edition Charizard that I had, and
Hmm.
I basically just went to town and just sold off a bunch of nines that I didn't need and a couple of other personal collection cards that I didn't need, which really turned out to suck because I think that was the time I think I sold my Dragonite and
Mm.
my Snorlax, like all these cards that are I sold for like 300 to 350 bucks or something at the time, and it's like
Yeah.
I didn't even want to sell those cards now, and I really wish I could have gotten the Snorlax back and kept the Dragonite, and
Mm-hmm.
now they're just like, 6K plus, and I'm like, I can't afford that. I mean, I could, but
It's
it's too much at this point to me, and
mm-hmm.
it's kind of over. It's like unbearable at this point. Like
Yeah, it's
I
very
feel like I
overwhelming.
can't justify the pricing anymore, and I'm just like, it's kind of exhausting
Yeah.
at the same time. And I've been thinking about exiting I've been fighting this back and forth for, I don't know, 2 years.
Yeah. See, that's interesting because I have this conversation in my head almost daily of why not just sell and move on. It's overwhelming when I look at my Excel spreadsheet, how much money I have in Pokemon, and I grew up lower middle class, like traditional, go to school, get a job, make 60K a year, have a family, do the general traditional thing. And it's like this is absurd. I'm not a lot of us we're not CEOs or millionaires or whatever that can afford to collect and spend 6K on a Dragonite for the heck of it, right? So it's just this ongoing conversation in my head of like, why am I doing this? It's so like it's crazy.
It
So
is.
so what so you're finally taking that leap, and as many have this year because of where the prices are at, because it's life-changing money. I sat down with Enlightened Bulbasaur, Mark, if you know him, on E4. He sold his collection off on PWCC. Me and him went back and forth for months about what to do, best put way to sell. Is this the right time? And as you mentioned earlier, sure, it'll probably be a regrettable decision in the future, but right now in this time, is it the right decision? And for him, it was the right time to sell. It was the right time to bring that money in and move on and do the next thing. So what's kind of your angle here? What's your goal with selling your collection? Why are you selling your collection?
So some people may call me crazy for doing this, but I guess it's for multiple reasons. To be honest with you, I've always been kind of a stingy guy with my money. Like I've always been very frugal.
Hmm.
Like what I use, I spend my money on. Like
Right.
I don't like going out to eat constantly or going out and just doing stuff that costs all this money and stuff like that. I'd rather buy into, I was always just kind of like Pokemon, 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 Pokemon,
Yeah.
like this and that, and like not really going out and doing things or um, just a homebody person,
Hmm.
and to be honest with you, it's kind of affected the people negatively in my life to
Mm.
where it's like, they can't go out with me or they feel like they've got to. I mean, it's so bad. I get people to pay for me to do things
Jeez.
with them sometimes. Not that, I mean, they don't
But
pay me to go
yeah,
out and do things with them, but they'll like pay for me sometimes.
just to drag you out.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Just like, come on, man, I'll pay. I'm like, and that makes me feel bad, but then I wind up, we just go out and we just have a good time, and it's just like
Yeah.
that was just me in the past, and it's just like it can negatively affect the people around me, and
Hmm.
I am trying to kind of change my whole perspective of who
Yeah.
I am as a person, just based off of what I talked about with you earlier. Just
Hmm.
like kind of self-reflecting on my life and the things that I'm doing and what's going on that I don't feel is right.
Hmm.
So my whole entire thing is I like money. I like Pokemon, but who doesn't like money? Let's be honest.
Right.
Like it definitely helps life out, make things easier if you got a bit of it. So
Hmm.
my whole perspective on things is I've got all this stuff waiting to be turned into liquid, all these assets,
Hmm.
that are ready to go, and they've just exploded into something insane,
Yeah.
and it's like I keep thinking if I am to sell off this stuff, like my whole goal is I want $250,000 cash
Yeah.
right here, right now, because with that kind of money, I can make 2K a week off of it.
Mm.
somewhere up in that general area. And let's face it, 2K a week, that's
It's a lot
on
of
top
money.
of having a job,
Yeah.
you know? Like that's crazy. So my whole entire thing is, and I'm sure you've heard of people that do stuff like this, but I'm not doing it as risky as you would think. But I'm actually very heavily invested in stocks.
Mm.
Over the last 2.5 years, I've got like 125K
Mm.
in stock account, but my whole thing is I do sell put contracts, they're called.
Yeah.
And basically I get credited for holding. And it's just really hard to explain. I get
I
credited for basically if a stock is $130, like I use Apple for an example,
mm-hmm.
I have the amount of collateral and cash in my account to be
Mm-hmm.
able to buy 100 shares of that stock if it goes below the price point
Mm-hmm.
on that given date of the week.
Right.
And regardless of if it does or doesn't, I get a credit every single week. So that $13,000, I get $100 off of it
Yeah.
in a week. And then with that $100, I basically flip it and then I put it into the stock.
Mm-hmm.
So I take that $100 every week and I use the credit as a stock. So I end up buying stock with it. And when I look down at it, it's over a 30% return.
Yeah.
And 30% is huge, you know?
It's
And
massive.
if I could get $250,000, which trust me, I know that's a lot of money to a lot of people,
Yeah.
But if I could do that, I could finally start letting go of these issues that I have. I could go take a freaking vacation if I want to, and I'm not going to sit there and worry about it and make a big deal over it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's going to help me become an overall better person.
Yeah.
I'll be able to just let go of a lot of these dumb problems that I've got
Mm-hmm.
in my life, and it just make me feel better about it. I'm sad to sell
Yeah.
Pokemon cards and stuff like that, but when I look at it, I just feel like these are just something sitting in a safety deposit box or
Mm-hmm.
something that's sitting in a giant safe.
Yeah.
They hardly ever see the light of day unless I decide to open them up to take a freaking quick picture of it for Instagram or just stare at them for a couple of minutes and reminisce of the time when I opened it out of a pack or
Mm-hmm.
just it's just stuff like that. So my whole thing is I just want to hold on to the cards that I really do love
Mm-hmm.
and kind of get rid of the ones that I don't have a really heavy connection to that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And so that's just been my whole outlook on things. I know that using that kind of money can be scary to a lot of people. A lot of people probably be like, man, this guy's crazy. But, you know, I don't care. I don't care what you think about what I think about. Like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be successful at it. And you'll see.
I mean, that's what people probably said to you about Pokemon, spending all that money
Oh,
on Pokemon.
totally.
And look at you now. I mean, that I think that's beautiful. I struggle with that myself. The amount of time and money that I'm putting into Pokemon and collectibles as a whole is really, taking away from time that I can offer to relationships. I went into and out of a relationship throughout COVID, and it was clearly affected by my work and what I'm doing. And then even like, my friends coming over, I don't have that much time. I'm constantly on my computer doing editing, doing videos, selling, packaging, whatever. Like it's really taking away from a lot of that. So I can really, that's something that I've struggled with and will continue to struggle with as I keep doing this. But yeah, I think relationships are so important in life. And again, like this is just cardboard. Like, yeah, it's done a lot for us emotionally and financially. But the end goal is to enjoy life with the people that you love, your friends, yourself, whatever it is, right? And the fact that it's really difficult to finally change that mentality, that headspace to move this stuff because it's done so much for us in the past, right? Like just the nostalgic feeling of it, the friendships you've made doing it, the journey you've had building your collection. It's meant a lot to us. It's meant a lot, my stuff personally, your stuff personally. But I think once you move away from it and taking that money and doing whatever you're going to do with it, and you'll realize how much more it actually has done for you. And yeah, you'll always look at prices and be like, oh, I used to have one of those, two of those, three of those, right? Moving on 10 years from now. But the simple fact is, what you're doing is, I think, a very, this is the right move. Is you have the right intentions behind it. You clearly understand what you're doing with stock. I sell puts as well in the stock market.
Yeah. It's a lot of capital. You need
Yeah,
a lot of capital to do it,
yeah,
but it's
yeah.
totally worth it.
Yeah, I do it on a much smaller scale than you, but yeah,
I'm not
it's
doing that much right now. I've
right.
got
But
30K cash and I just get a couple $100 a week,
yeah, but
But
that's awesome. That's great, and
yeah,
and you're learning how to do it and how to protect yourself and do it, the right way. And you seem ready to take it to the next level. So I think that's a great move. I think that's
yeah.
smart.
Buying contracts, that's not a smart move.
Right.
Yeah, stay away from buying. If you could use collateral because if you don't, you're paying for the options
Yeah.
instead of getting paid to sell someone a contract.
Right.
Selling contracts is where it's at.
Yep.
If you have the capital for it, do it because you don't really put yourself in really any harm's way if you buy a
Hmm.
company that you really truly believe in. Unless
Hmm.
of course stock market crashes 20%, but
Right.
it'll come up. So what? Maybe I lose out on a couple months worth of income.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, I mean that's 8 G's a month possibly. I'd be losing out on. But as long as
it's
it all comes back,
yeah.
it'll all come back to me too. So it's
Hmm.
not,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have anything to trip over.
Right. And it has a longer history, the stock market, than Pokemon does. And Pokemon has seen incredible gains this year, but and we don't know where
Without a
it's
doubt.
we have no idea where it's headed. It could explode again this year in 2021, but it could also stay stagnant or start to dip down. No one knows. It's just it's less liquid than stocks. It's more versatile than stocks. It's higher risk, higher reward. There's your
Stonks.
there he is. I was gonna ask, is that gonna be that's a piece you're selling, I would assume, right?
You know what? You remember those regrettable decisions that we make?
Yeah.
People are going to be slamming me in the comment section on this one, but I made the worst freaking decision, and Zach kept telling me not to do it. But I
What?
was like, screw it. I want, because like I said, it kind of falls under the same thing.
Hmm.
I just wanted money so
Hmm.
that I could start learning how to do the stock market. That was my biggest thing.
Yeah.
So around the time, this card was basically sold off for about 40K by me, along with everything else.
Uh-huh.
So like I sold the non-hollow set. I sold the non-hollow set to somebody else just recently
Hmm.
for what I feel is like top-notch price.
Hmm.
But I sold off the hollow set for 90K to the guy, and he's still paying me even now
Oh wow.
in a contract. And it's just like that was the dumbest decision I've ever made. But at the time, I'm like thinking to myself, oh hey, like I'm getting passive income in a very large way each month from this guy, and it's
Yeah.
going to help me.
Yeah.
But now that I think about it, I'm like, well, shit, I could have sold this for 4x just the one card alone,
Yeah.
and that's that.
Right.
But I sold off the non-hollow set for, I got 75 for that.
Wow. Congrats.
75 for that and only 90K for the hollow set
Yeah,
because it was sold off like a year and a half ago. But I still
mhm.
have the stuff, I still
Okay.
get to look at it and hold on to it for, you
Until
know, the next amount of time till it's all finished off, said and done,
yeah.
you know? So I still have all this stuff here. And
Hmm.
every time I see it, it just feels like getting shot through the heart.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that's got to be painful, but at
Oh,
least, but hey,
100%.
you made the decision that you felt was right at the time you did, and receiving that passive income basically has probably been huge for you lately during this time, right? I mean, it's
Yeah, I mean, I stick every single month I get paid. It
mhm.
goes straight into a Roth IRA account.
Yep,
A very small amount does,
right.
and then I stick the rest of it into my stock account so
Mhm.
that I could keep my whole thing is I just wanted to learn stocks
Yeah,
because when I look at the stock market, I know how stable it is. For the most part, it's usually stable. It's
right.
been a little wonky the last a couple of years, but it's mostly been in a heavily uptrending position,
Right.
obviously, but it's just you can't just watch people do something and just learn it. You know, you've
Right.
got to experience it for yourself, and that was my whole thing. Like, I've got to experience this. I've got to know how to do this. Because if I don't, what happens if I go in there with that $350,000 I made off of Charizard, and then I decide to buy a couple contracts, on
Hmm.
Amazon or something, and I end up losing 10 G's in 5 minutes. I've
Yeah.
lost $2,500 in 15 minutes in the stock market with something that I did
Yeah.
at the beginning, and yeah, that was just like my heart sank through the floor, and I'm like,
Hmm.
oh Lord, this was the Jesus, what am I doing? This is a horrible decision.
Yeah. No, it's so stressful. I mean, Pokemon stocks, money in general is so stressful to deal with, and yeah, it's tough. So I feel this. I have the same anxiety of dealing with that stuff, and I've learned with stocks with my investment portfolio. I'm just throwing it into target to date funds, ETFs, mutual funds, and just not looking at it. Like I'll play with a little bit every now and then. Like I said, I'll sell some put options, but it's very small scale, and yeah, and Pokemon does the same thing to me, except yeah, with Pokemon, I have so much knowledge behind it. Probably an overconfidence is an issue with Pokemon because of how much knowledge I have. But it's just something that I feel I can easily navigate. That's where my risk tolerance is right now. So you're just kind of shifting your risk tolerance from Pokemon to to stocks, and I think it's a great time to do it. Like I said, Pokemon has gone crazy. So how much higher can it go in the near future? I think it's got a
Yeah,
very bright long term outlook, but the near term, how much higher can it go? It's just seems crazy. So what's
yeah, 25th anniversary coming up. That
yeah.
that can be a pretty big catalyst to another
Uh-huh.
big bump. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to be selling this stuff throughout the year. I'm not going to just go hard
Hmm.
and click on every single person that sends me a lowball offer and just sell it. I'm gonna try to get
Yeah.
fair values at the very least. Stuff that I think that could keep falling a little bit, or
Hmm.
if I think that I saw so much stuff like, or I sold. Well, I guess I can't say earlier this year because today's the second at this point. But in 2020, like earlier, I had two Shining Charizard first edition tens, and I
Hmm.
had sold one of them, the other one, the spare, to some guy for like 5 or 6K. And I
Hmm.
kept telling myself, I'm like, this card's worth double. Like, this is
Yeah.
stupid. Don't sell this. And then out of nowhere, toward the end of the year, it's,
20.
flew off the radar, it's tripled the price all of a sudden,
Yeah.
and I was like, whoops. But,
Yeah.
can't keep looking at it like that though
Mhm.
either. Just got to keep on pushing on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how are you selling? Are you going to be selling through your Instagram, through eBay, through what avenues?
um, Well, you know how it goes. I list. I've already started. Like I've already listed like 115 items on eBay.
Okay.
I basically just list anything on eBay, and since a lot of people recognize my name through eBay, they can correlate me to Instagram, and
Hmm.
then I could go from there, and people can message me there if they so
Right.
desire to, which is of course better for everyone now that there's freaking taxes on everything. I get nailed with 10%. I don't know. Some other people don't get any tax at all.
Oregon.
Mm-hmm. About to get an Oregon address.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's painful. Is your eBay Pokemon Master 556?
Yeah, it's
It
still the
is.
same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Um, yeah. So I mean, you'll be selling off incredible cards. I mean, what do we have to expect? What's on your eBay page right now?
Basically anything from first edition jungle all the way up to Skyridge at this point.
Yeah, PSA nines, PSA tens, everything.
Mostly tens.
Mostly tens. All right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, I still got some cards at PSA and some things that I need to have grade, but
Uh-huh.
God knows when those are ever going to show back up, you know?
It's ridiculous, man. I'm just like I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking about starting to sell raw cards because I just don't want to deal with waiting so long. It's insane. Um,
Well, I wouldn't. I
Yeah.
personally, I'm gonna say I wouldn't do that,
Yeah.
just
Well,
because you know that the longer you wait, the better chance that the cards prices could get bumped up again. You know,
yeah. That's how
they
we've been
shot
going.
up, fall down a little bit, and then have a nice little spike here, and hopefully they could come show up around the spike time. You know, for you
Yeah.
to sell them off. You
Yeah.
know,
I
you
think
never know.
it's definitely worth the gamble of time for sure. I think. So,
Gamble versus time. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Um, well, cool, man. I mean, so what's something that you're keeping?
I mean,
The
like I'm not
Umbreon.
gonna sit here and show off all these, but I got like a nice stack of cards. You know, like just like stuff like this.
Nice. I
You
love
know,
Legendary Collection.
or that one right there, Shadowless. You know, you gotta have these.
You like you're keeping your Shadowless?
Just the Ninetales and the Venusaur, because I
Okay.
love Ninetales and Venusaur.
Cool.
Um, Basically anything that's you know,
Oh, Flareon.
um, evolution cards. Like I love those.
Okay.
You know, I don't know. You can't can you really sell that? Do you want to sell that? You
I
know,
love that Gyarados.
like
Yeah.
who doesn't? Like I just basically went and grabbed a bunch of like my absolute favorite cards. Like there's some things in my pile here that I don't know if I'll sell.
Hmm.
I might consider, you know, like got that. I know there's
Ooh.
glare. You know, there's just a lot of very specific cards. Like I got this off of Hisoka a long time ago when I was looking for that.
Okay.
You know, because I just you know I love Umbreon
Hmm.
mostly. Oh, like the whole evolution scale of cards. You know.
Well, let me show you this.
Um, oh yeah, I've seen it, but of course I'm going to be jealous.
If he's in here, there he is. There's the
Yeah,
Espeon.
what?
I sold the
That's a
Umbreon.
lovely card. Oh,
Yeah.
you sold it?
Hmm. I had the
How
Umbreon.
much?
The Umbreon I sold for 40,000 in a Beckett 9.
That's a flat 9 for 40.
Yeah.
I'm so mad because I had this opportunity. This one guy had offered me. I think it was the Umbreon. I think it was still sealed,
Mm.
and he wanted extra for it because he was going to grade it and either sell it or keep it.
Hmm.
I think it was at I want to say I think only collectibles. The guy from
Mm.
UK.
Yeah.
When I was talking with him, I was like, I really want to buy this off of you, and you know, he wanted like a lot for it, but I just felt like I couldn't justify it at the time,
Yeah.
and you
They've always
know,
been
and it's just
expensive.
like I absolutely like adored that card, like I wanted it so bad, and like I never like felt like I should buy it because it was
No.
like, man, it's so expensive, but I always knew it was super rare, you
Yeah.
know, because like you don't find those 50 and 70,000 play promos.
Mm-mm.
Like they just don't show up sealed, especially sealed,
Right.
you know? They just don't come around those.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I don't even remember. I think he wanted like maybe $3,000 or something for it
Hmm.
at the time, and this was like a few years ago, and it's just like, man. I mean, I don't think I probably who knows, I would have considered selling it at this point, but I probably that would have been like my holy grail card,
Yeah.
you
No,
know?
it was tough to let go because once I got it, it was yeah. The thing is, I mean, even this one too. Like I have it on eBay, and I will sell it, but there's just something
Eventually.
different about it. Yeah.
Here's a couple of other good ones though too.
I
You
love that.
know,
That's awesome.
it's that one and this one here.
Oh, I pulled one of those. I got a 9
I've
back in the
had
day.
10s of this.
Yeah. That's a
Another
beautiful card.
regrettable sale.
List goes on forever.
Yeah, basically. It'll never stop.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just hard times.
Well, hey, I mean, I think it seems like you've sat down and thought about this and prepared yourself for for a plan after selling. So I think you're making it a great decision, the best decision you can for yourself today. And yeah, we'll always look back at this stuff and kick ourselves over it. But I think
It's all right.
you can't really tie a monetary value to enjoying life, I guess, and having stronger relationships with your buddies, with your family. So I think this will do wonders for you, and
I hope.
I'm really happy that you're at this point now where you're able to make that decision. And again, Pokemon has been a huge part of your life, my life, and it's finally at the point where it's making a noticeable change, a physical change, basically on your for your future, the outlook of your future. So I'm really happy to see that you're crossing this road and doing it. And I know it's going to be tough to go through with all the cars you'll be selling, but I'm really happy for you, man. I'm really happy that you were able to hop on and talk with me about this stuff. So, for everyone that's looking for some cards that you probably haven't seen in a while, check out Pokemon Master 556 on eBay, Instagram, YouTube, all over the place, and you might find yourself a piece for your collection that you can hold on for a while. And hey, you could probably go on YouTube and find the exact video of when you got it graded, or
Probably, yeah, I know.
yeah,
Honestly, yeah, I'm
yeah,
pretty sure you could if you want to dig deep enough. But
yeah,
whew, there's quite a few videos on there to go through if you want to do that.
yeah. But is there anything you want to share to end this off? Any last things you want to discuss?
Well, I don't know.
I just leave it open to you to plug anything. I kind of plugged all your social medias and your eBay, but anything that you want to share with the world, or any piece of advice or anything that you might have. If not, it's no
Don't
big deal.
sell your cards. Hold on to them for as long as you can.
I think that's fair advice to give.
Yeah. Yeah, just like focus on yourself,
Mhm.
do what you think is right, enjoy your life. If you enjoy cards, focus more on your wife.
But hey, thank you again, Jeff, for hopping on and giving me this time today. And I think people are gonna really love the story of Pokemon Master 556 slash Pokemon Fetish for a short period of time. Back to Pokemon Master 556. So dude, I really appreciate
Horrible name.
I think it's a great name. But yeah, I appreciate our relationship and our friendship. So thanks again, man, and have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too, man. It's been a joy.